Well, hello everybody. It's me again for another one of these remote video casts. And if you've been paying attention to the news, you saw yesterday Governor Greg Abbott made a proclamation that beginning May 1st, they're going to begin the entry phases of reopening the Texas economy, allowing certain businesses to open at a limited capacity. And I know many of you are anxious for our lives to get back to normal. This has been a challenging time for all of us. And one of the guiding principles that has, in addition to Scripture, that has guided us as Methodists, as Wesleyan people, are Wesley's three, what we call the general rules. The general rules are simple. One is do no harm. So we don't want to do anything that's going to cause harm to anybody else. Second of all, do good. We want to do as much good in the world as we can. It said that Wesley said, do all the good you can in all the ways you can, as long as ever you can. And the third general rule is to stay upon the ordinances of God. And what that means is we're going to do the things that help us to connect with God. We're going to study our scriptures. We're going to pray. But we're also going to gather with other Christians for fellowship and for worship. And for the first time in recent years, rule number 1, do no harm, is in direct conflict with rule number 3, stay upon the ordinances of God. Almost immediately after the governor's proclamation, I received text messages from parishioners wanting to know if this means that we're going to be going back to church soon. As of right now, I don't have an answer for that definitively. We're going to wait and watch what happens with the economy. Part of this process has been allowing the medical infrastructure in the state of Texas to catch up to where it needed to be so that they're ready to attack the virus whenever things reopen. One of the metaphors for all of this that I've been using is exile. And I want to share with you real quickly, this is from the book of Ezra. As the people were captive in Israel, the King Cyrus of Persia, prompted by God, made a way for the people to leave Babylon and to go back to leave Persia and to leave and go back to their homeland. It says this, thus says King Cyrus of Persia, the Lord, the God of heaven, has given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he has charged me to build him a house at Jerusalem in Judah. Any of those among you who are of his people, may their God be with them, are now permitted to go up to Jerusalem in Judah and rebuild the house of the Lord, the God of Israel. He is the God who is in Jerusalem. And let all survivors in whatever place they reside be assisted by the people of their place with silver and gold, with goods and with animals, besides free will offerings for the house of God in Jerusalem. Folks, the return from exile didn't happen overnight. And Jerusalem wasn't rebuilt in a day. It was a long process as the exiles were allowed to return to their homeland, and then they were given the materials and the resources to do the things they needed to do to get Jerusalem looking back the way it did before. If I tell you the name Shoulder Arms, it's probably not going to register with you. But in 1918, Shoulder Arms was a Charlie Chaplin silent flick that was released at the height of the Spanish flu pandemic. New York City theater manager Harold Edel was among those who had been impacted by this, and as the cities underwent very similar measures to what we're doing now with social distancing and operating at limited capacity, he advertised the release of the film and felt like that releasing the film would be good for everybody to go and just see a movie together. Well, in the theater, you can imagine the Spanish flu was found there, and Mr. Edel himself wound up dying of the Spanish flu. So as we think of this return from exile, yes, it will be done in phases. Yes, when we do reopen as a church, it's not going to look exactly like it did before. There are protocols and parameters that we're going to have to abide by. But I ask for your patience and for your understanding. And as our government makes decisions that I think are in all of our best interests, let us have a little bit of faith as we trust and obey the powers that be. May God bless you and keep you as we wait. Yes, we are returning from exile, and we give thanks to God for that. But we need to remember that Jerusalem wasn't rebuilt in a day, and June is not going to look exactly like February, but we will get there. God bless you all. Thank you.